Okay, so you know what? I thought that we can start now by teaching Zimbabwe about the fundamental rights and freedoms that come with our constitution. We have a constitution, and that is the supreme law of the country. And all the other laws flow from the constitution. So you have the constitution, and then you have the various laws, which are like, let's say, I'm just thinking of an ordinary law that would come. Let me just talk about the Mines and Minerals Act. Okay, so that one derives its authority from the Constitution. And then from there, you then have the statutes, the various statutory instruments, okay, that then really get into the nitty-gritties of how that law then operates. So, one of the most important things that you'll find from the Constitution of Zimbabwe is what we call the Bill of Rights. Okay, and when we talk about the Bill of Rights, we're talking about just the rights of an individual who lives in Zimbabwe. Okay, so you can be a citizen, you can be a resident, you have specific rights and freedoms that accrue to you or that attain to you by virtue of being a person who's living in Zimbabwe or who's a citizen of Zimbabwe. So in Shona togona kuti munhu wese ane kodzero dzake, right? As a person who's just been born in Zimbabwe or a person who's living in Zimbabwe, utorina kodzero dzako, you don't have to apply kana undokumbira mumwe munhu kana kundotenga, right? There are rights that accrue to you. Saka we want to, from today onwards, Tichenda Mary, we're going to be talking about several of those rights. You know, some people might not even know that these are our rights.
It's
important,
you know, to know that. Yeah.
And what am I free to do? Because I'm going to kure, you know, you know, you have first and foremost the right to life. And you will see kuti marights atirikutaura aya, they will automatically connect to crimes. You know, later on we're going to be talking about crimes. So we need to establish the rights first, and then we'll talk about crimes. Because kana ndina marights angu, iwo kakanganisa marights angu na kumbunyikidza marights angu, you know, or you know, you trample over my rights, you're committing a crime. Right, so those two kind of like, they go together.
So that's pa criminal ipapo.
Pa criminal ipapo. Yes. Because the criminal law it's probably like half the law in Zimbabwe. Hey, it's no matter wonder sterek. So it'll be very nice to actually get into the nitty-gritties of it so everybody can understand what's going on. So the right to life, right? You will see kuti inondo batana the crime of murder. Everybody has a right to live. You know, so everybody has a right to protection of life. That means, kuti, you cannot take the life of a person willy-nilly or unlawfully. Okay, and we noted there are lawful ways of taking the life of a person, but that's just when it is maybe like the death sentence, but or not part of a process, and even then they'll be trying to find means and ways of still preserving life, right? So you have your right to life. The fact you've got opinion, you've got
right
yekurarama. And we'll explain it further, of course, when we're talking about the crimes against, against life. So murder is a crime against life. Culpable homicide is a crime against life. And whether wauraya munu with intention, kana wauraya munu uri negligent. Okay, like my road traffic accidents, you'll see kuti you have messed with somebody's right to life. That's why I'm sure not to my zebra crossings. It is so important. You know what I mean? Because pa zebra crossing do pa crosser.
Une right of way.
Une right of way and autofamba anaka chexpert mota ichibva uko akaita muvhevhe. Icha respecta.
Ichamira
ipapo. And a lot of kids, unfortunately, vakatotsikwa vamwe vakatoshaika because somebody is failing to respect a zebra crossing which is a traffic rule, but the right to life yemunhu kuti patori nemunhu ane right of way handiti iwe hauna right of way, urumanyira hako ndoita mari dzako but hauna right of way. Yeah, you'll then see kuti again zvichabatana nenyaya, we'll talk about it in more detail as in the coming weeks. Abortion. At what point can we say munhu akunzi amunhu, you know?
Yes.
And abortion in Zimbabwe, we know kuti it is completely illegal, it's unlawful, right? Because they look at conception. Avatarisi kuti mwana azvarwa avapo. You know what I mean? So kana mwana achiri momo, zvichitonzi she's expecting. What are you expecting? You're expecting life, because life is already in you, right?
Yeah.
So so those are you'll see the crimes that will then come with this fundamental right to life. Okay, but like I said, we'll get more into it and take into the nitty-gritties of it.
Panenge atamboita patrending anenge abata mukadzi wake achichita murume wake achichita, then orova munhu osasena ma-injuries, then otofa.
Right. Iko kutongorova munhu, ngatitange nekurova munhu anorova chete kana achipiwa discipline, ashina basa choti acommit adultery. Munhu kurohwa kwemunhu inonzi corporal punishment inopiwa any person who is below 18 years. Anonzi mwana uyawe, a child who's called a child, ndiye anonzi anorohwa, anopunishwa kana kuti anoitwa chinyi. Anybody who is 18 years and above, they are now an adult. Hakuna zvokuti uchada kuuya uzondidisciplina inini, even kwakandibvisira pfuma hauna right yekundidisciplina. You understand what I mean? Maybe there are other ways yekuti tinogona kutaurirana kana tinogona kudi, ende kana waona kuti ndakuchita inini chisiyana nini, if that is not going to, if that's not palatable to you, or you find kuti there's no way out, watondichita zvatofa. No one has a right kurova munhu, chero ari mukadzi wake, chero ari murume wake, chero ari mwana wake who is above 18 years, or who is 18 years and above rather, right? Saka hakuna inini kana mai vangu vakatonditadza, iwe ndoda kuzondikwanisa, you know, ndaamumba mako iwewe, aiwa vanhu ngavakwani. So long and short of it, no one has a right to hit anybody or to take anybody's life, no matter how much you feel they've hurt you. Because though remember, they remain as individuals with their individual choices that they have. And inini, if I committed to you, kuti I'm not going to cheat on you, and then I actually cheat on you, there are other ways of handling those issues without committing a crime. So I think maybe a big takeaway on this one is kuti whatever shauri kuita iwewe, shauri kuona kuti uda kushigadzirisa zvawatadzirwa, don't commit a crime. You know, don't commit a crime against this other person, because nyaya yacho inozosarira iwewe, right? Wauraya munhu. And we know kuti there have been in the newspapers a lot of cases of crimes of passion. You know, we call them crimes of passion. Where, and I actually remember, I don't know if I mentioned it here, but I actually remember there was a gentleman, ndichangotanga ku practice a law, you know. I took over a file of a gentleman who was making a presidential petition. Kuti ndiregerereiwo, you know, I've been sentenced, I mean, or maybe it was 25 years or something. Ayashanda mtown. And he would go there like every 2 weeks or every so often, and then and then he was told, and for sure he caught people red-handed. And this is not prescriptive, okay, it's descriptive. You know, and obviously angarwadziwa anditika and we understand kuti kurwadziwa sure unozotorwadziwa, but it doesn't give you the right to take life. It doesn't give you the right to injure anyone. It doesn't give you the right to assault anybody. Warwadziwa, yes, there are many other ways of handling kurwadziwa kwawaitwa ikoko, and he did that. And he went through it, right? Akatopiwa 25 years zake. And I think when I got onto the case, maybe angarpa 9 years or something, and he was instructing to nditewo presidential petition kuti ndandabatwa neshungu anditeka etc. Imagine how many people vanenge vakaita list yema petition kuna president yekuti ndiregererewo ndakabatwa neshungu. Saka essentially people ngavadile neshungu dzava nditeka, like deal with your nyayas, you know, without what you call it, without committing crimes. Don't do that. You know, that the law will not look upon you kindly at all. You know, it's crime and punishment. All right. So I hope kuti that message is very clear. Kuti chero wakabvisa fuma shamari, fuma dzingori mbombe 10 anditika adzisombokompei neupenyu hwemunhu. because munu, and is a citizen of Zimbabwe, and they are protected by the state. So I think we were mentioning I'm just thinking to probably I can then just quickly move on to the right to personal liberty. Okay, this one is important. Inondobatanzira futi zveshe kunzi unlawful arrest. Miss Vikendi, kune vanhu vanoita basa rekundohaya. Hamenoti izvi tiri kuchitaura hedu because zvinhu zvinoitika handitika. Vanhu vanondohaya mapurisa here. Kuti ndamundomusunga, mumbomuvharira. Exactly, mumunazomukwatura, andisi kuti tatione a list of crimes dziri kutoitika ipapa. Number one, muri kusunga munhu asina mhosva, kana kuti whether ane mhosva or not handitika, but muri kutomusungira izvozvo kuti watumwa. Mupurisa hatumwe kuti andosunga munhu. Mupurisa anopiwa report. Otarisa report racho noona kuti nyaya iyi kai inoda kuti munhu andobatwa, right? But kuti unzi uri kupiwa mari yekuti ndosunga munhu, because we've got unfortunately my law officers vanotopindawo votama accused atatauraya because of zvikanari zvavanenge vachiita izvi, and if there's such a person who's tempted to do that, no, you're committing a crime. You can't just take the liberty yemunhu anditika and then momusunga momugarisa vanatsoziva kuti aiwa zvinonzi within 48 hours anofanira kuita appear before the magistrate. Saka tikamusunga musi weFriday anombonya arimo imomo atombomunyisa arimo, and then if there's ever going to be any kind of violence that is also completely illegal, and just remember we spoke about people who've been arrested, they still have rights because they're innocent until they're proven guilty. Saka kuti uti wakurowa munhu or whatever, that's not allowed. So you cannot take the liberty of somebody willy-nilly. Otongomusunga motomuendesa uko chero mukati ngambovharirwa overnight. Izvozvo that actually gives rights to claims for damages for unlawful arrest and detention. Kuti makandisunga muchinatsozviziya kuti mhosva ndandisina, kana kuti it was not justified for you to mundisunge mundigarise, because kugara uko overnight hakuna kids, even chero mamuri muhotera munhu akanzi ugarisa muhotera asi akakuvharira imomo, you still feel like constrained. But manje haisi hotera kai. You understand? And so it's not a nice experience to go through unfairly and unlawfully. Okay, if it's to do with just the normal processes of criminal investigations and what happens, then that's fine. But kuti muri kusunga munhu kuti mutomupanisha nekumusunga ikoko nekumuvharira overnight or for 2 nights or whatever, that is completely unlawful, and you are interfering with their right to liberty. Anditika okay, so right to personal liberty. And while we're talking about that footy, it does not include grounding. And if we're talking about grounding, you've been grounded, and maybe you're a 16-year-old, and as part of discipline my parents you are grounded, right? You're not going to go for whatever social events that you like to go to, and or you're coming straight from school to home, from home to school. It does not include that, because that's just part of discipline yevana. But manje I still need to absolutely emphasize kuti munane 18 years and above asisiri pa stage yekudiscipliniwa.
Alright.
Saka kana
chirani under roof yako.
Chirari under roof yako chiro wakamvisira fuma. Zvokunzi ini mukadzi wangu pano hadai. You cannot ground a person who's 18 years and above, because already this is an adult, this is a major. Wakutokanganisa marights akawa, marights echinyi to personal liberty. Munhu anobvumidzwa kuenda kuchechi kana achida kuenda kuchechi. Munhu anobvumidzwa kuenda kumashops. Kwete kuti kumashops kwamunoenda ikokoko ndokwamunondosvika muchibatwa namaboyfriends. You understand what I mean? So while it is okay kuchengetedzana muma relationships nemuma marriages, okay, a person has a right to movement, to go where they need to go. They are an adult. We are assuming that they're responsible, and kuzopa vanhu mitemo nezviga zvisingaperi, you know, already you are messing up with the what? With this fundamental right. And that obviously a lot of rules are given to people in marriages, you know, and not just women. Hey, there are some men vanotompunyikidzwa like that who are also in trouble, you know.
Hands go curfew for munhu pamba pangu like after 6 p.m. andidi.
Alright, saka ndoshatiri kuti iyoyo curfew iyoyo chimbozvibvunza kuti uyu mwana mudiki here kuti munhu mukuru. And if you can just fix that in your head, it'll be easier for you to understand. As long as a person is 18 years and above, you cannot treat them like a child. And unfortunately, within our African setting, mukadzi anongobatwa semwana, you know, for historically. And now I think maybe it's high time we actually start dealing with that and start actually reminding people, aiwa chero ndiri mukadzi, kandangone 18 years, I'm now considered a full major. Ndosaka tine Legal Age of Majority Act. Iyoyo ndiyo yakazoti munhu wese ane 18 years, to all intents and purposes, they are now being treated like an adult.
So, having said that, have a question here. And someone at 18 can be disciplined under my roof. Do I have a right to chase them out since they're an adult? Since they're adults.
Usually, if we can, this is what I say, and I speak this and in a bachi rem parid. Ndere ukaona mwana asvika 18 years usati wakwanisa wamudisciplina. Pane zvakatoitika zviri wrong somewhere. Because mwana anoinstillwa discipline before they are even 10 years old. You understand what I mean? But kune vana vanonetsa. Atingashati hakuna vana vanonetsa. I believe kuti you can discipline a child or not your child, okay, in many ways besides kurova. Tirikungoti kana munhu ane 18 years achiita kuti tumurove, achiita kuti uchiita zvimwe zvinhu zvinenge zvine chimwana mudiki mukati.
Saka uchibuda hake uchienda hake kasemunhu mukuru.
Kana inini hangu to me, kana usiri kuda hako kuita zvepanopamba ka, it means watoo munhu mukuru kaiwewe. You understand what I mean? But I'm just saying, find means and ways, you know, dzekuita instill discipline within the family setting without committing crimes. I hope that is clear. Okay. Kuita hapo curfew pamba, you know, because I think before we close, it would be important for us to actually say this, kuti, in as much as the law itself says kuti mwana ane 18 years ava an adult, okay, maybe achaitwe corporal punishment, maybe for that purpose. But tinotozviziva kuti majority evana who are 18 years and even sometimes to 25 years, they are not yet financially independent. They cannot live alone. Saka kana iwe uri mwana iwewe uri kugara navabereki vako, chirega kuda kuenforce marights ako uri under somebody's roof. You know what I mean? As long as you are, because even munhu ari kushanda tota ashanda pano paStar FM, andikati I'm an adult, I'm over 18, saka ndotota zvandoda. Everywhere kune mitemo,
rules, regulations, you know,
rules, regulations.
Yeah.
So you abide by that.
Then our time gone like that.
I know.
Your number for those who want to reach you.